I think it's time to start since we have only 1 hour together. So good morning. My name is Melissa Miklos. I'm Communication Manager at Fedaren. I'm pleased to welcome you today, also together with my colleague Nadesh Segel, who will come up moderate this webinar with me. So this webinar today is brought to you by the Managed Energy Initiative, which is the European Commission's initiative supporting local and regional energy agencies across Europe, and also which aims to boost energy investments, sustainable energy and energy efficiency investments in cities and regions of the EU. It's a pleasure to have this webinar today. It's the first one since Managed Energy was restarted about 1 year ago, actually. So just a reminder maybe on the agenda, what is in the program for you today. Or is it first the quiz, Nadesh? I don't recall in the order.
It's first the agenda. So I changed.
Okay, so
yeah.
then I'm correct. Yeah, so just a reminder about the program that we will present today. We will first have Pierluca Merola from DG Energy European Commission. Then we'll have Seamus Hoyne, the coordinator of the Managed Energy Initiative, with some information about the initiative itself. And in the second part of this webinar, we will focus on best practices from cities and regions of the EU in terms of the recovery and resilience facility mostly, and investments in energy efficiency and renewables. But before we come to that, as I already spoiled a few seconds ago, we wanted to organize a short quiz. So for that, my colleague Nadesh will explain a bit more.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. I just want to also recall the participants that the webinar is recorded. So if you don't want to appear on the recording, please keep your camera off, and you can ask your question on the chat or on Slido. Many thanks everyone for being here with us this morning. As Melissa explained, I'll be animating this webinar with some Slido interactions. So first of all, we would like to know a bit more about you. Where do you come from and for which kind of organization you are working? So to respond to this question, I would invite you to join our Slido session. There are 3 ways of joining it, either by scanning the QR code that you can see on the screen just now, or by inserting the code that you can see also on the screen right now and going on the website slido.com. Or the third way is to also click directly on the link, which is already in the chat. So I can see that you're joining the Slido, so that's nice. I can see we have people coming from Croatia, from Belgium, Spain, Moldova, Austria, Greece, Italy, France, Finland. So we have Northern Europe country, Ireland.
Croatia seems still to be the main representative of this webinar.
Yeah. Okay. So I see people are still responding. Oh, Greece is also well represented. We can go to the second question. So I see that most of you are, 33% of you are coming from energy agencies, which is quite nice and good for us, since the webinar and Managed Energy Initiative is also, but not only, you will see later, for energy agencies, also association and networks, and others. That's a mystery. Okay, thank you. So the Slido will keep open if you want to respond a bit later, or if you had difficulties to join at first. Thank you for participating to this first one. And please do not disconnect from the website. Keep the tab open, because we will use it again later for a small quiz. So now I will give back the floor to Melissa for her to introduce our first speaker today.
Thanks, Nadej, and thanks everyone for participating in this Slido. Indeed, now it's time to welcome our first speaker. We're very pleased to have Pierluca. Pierluca Merola is the Policy Officer at DG Energy European Commission within the Energy Efficiency Unit, and he has been following our Managed Energy initiative quite closely. So we're grateful for that, and we think he's the best person to tell you about policy updates from Brussels today. So Pierluca, please, you have the floor.
So thank you very much, Melissa, and thank you very much to everybody for joining today. I will share. We start by sharing my presentation. I mean, first of all, I think you can see. Tell me if this is not the case. First of all, I mean, I'm Pierluca Merola from the from the DG Energy unit on energy efficiency. I work on energy efficiency financing, and I've been also closely following the RRF, the Recovery and Resilience Facility implementation, and the REPower EU chapters. I'm quite pleased to participate to this first online seminar of the third Managed Energy Initiative. I mean, this is an initiative that we support from the European Commission side that is implemented by the consortium led by FEDEREN, by REGEA, and the other partners, and especially because of the role that you play as local energy and local and regional energy agency practitioners, by not only in advancing and in making it possible that the clean energy transition happen at local level. So thank you very much for that, and thank you for joining today. So I've been asked to present you a bit the state of play of the RRF. I mean, it's a lot of information that I will be trying to condense in 8 to 9 minutes. But I mean, the main element, the first main element to retain is that the RRF, the Recovery and Resilience Facility, is the main instrument to support the green transition, and within that, the clean energy transition in the EU. The level of funding that have been leveraged by the European Commission in the Next Generation EU package is unprecedented. I mean, as you know very well, this is the first time the Commission take loans on the financial market to finance investment in member states. I mean, it's not, let's say, it's not the first time, it's the first time at this scale. We, in total, the RRF is made of loans and grants up to 723 billion euro. And this is a new type of instrument because it's a performance-based instrument where the payments are done at the achievement of specific milestone and target. Within the RRF, as you know, this has become the arm of the REPower EU plan that the European Commission has put forward to phase out the dependence on Russian fossil fuels following the aggression from Russia to Ukraine, and the impact in terms of energy crisis and energy price crisis in Europe. So we have introduced this REPower chapter in the RRF, and up to now the update is that 23 member states have amended their recovery and resilience plans and submitted a REPower chapter. What is also important to signal is that in the original design of the RRF, as you know, there are a clear commitment in terms of climate and digital expenditure. There are two main thresholds that each recovery and resilience plan at member state level need to respect. For is 37% to be dedicated to climate actions, including clean energy transition, so including investment in energy efficiency, in renewables at local and regional level, and also there is a similar threshold for digital expenditure. As you see from this picture, this is the current state of play. The member states have taken, the large majority of them have taken this requirement at the core of the RRP, and some of them have also, I mean, used their recovery and resilience plans to clearly finance the transition in line with the climate objective. From that, I mean, from a first very quick overview of what is the RRF to REPower EU, you know, REPower EU is the plan from the European Commission that is made of a number of initiative and legislative revision to phase out the dependence from Russian fossil fuel by 2027. It is based on three pillars: the acceleration of the clean energy transition, the diversification of energy sources, and the reduction of energy demand, so energy efficiency. Together with the plan, also on the legislative side, it came together with the plan, so with the top up of the finance available within the RRF to finance these REPower EU chapters. It came also some legislative revision that are now in the adopted Energy Efficiency Directive and Renewable Energy Directive, where we have increased the target compared to the initial Green Deal proposal. So already the Green Deal proposed an important increase in ambition, and compared to that, because of this acceleration, we increased the proposal, and we were quite satisfied now with the adoption of the directive by the fact that the member state took that on, not only the member state, but the member state and the European Parliament, and took that on and adopted an increased target compared to the initial proposal. So REPower EU. REPower EU took the form of an amendment to the RRF regulation, detailing both the sources of this additional financing, but also the objectives. Here you have a snapshot. I mean, this is not a snapshot, it's just basically the copy-paste of the amending the regulation, but every REPower EU action have to address one of these six objectives. They are divided, of course, there are different points, and they are divided just for you to have an easier overview. Of course, they address energy infrastructure, energy efficiency, renewables. The most important is also the need to address energy poverty, and as well the element of green skills and workforce to deliver on this objective. So when it comes to the addition of the REPower EU chapter to the RF, we have basically, with I said that we have now 13 plans that are adopted, and other that are close to be adopted. What the area has been indeed in terms of reforms and investment, keep focusing on adding investment or scaling up the existing one on renewable energy and energy efficiency, but also of course on the general decarbonization and transition of the European industry, and with regard to the diversification of energy supply, new not only energy networks and grid, also for electrification, and new fossil fuel infrastructure for diversification away from energy supply from Russia. In terms of funding, there was an increase in both in grants allocation of 20 billion, but also savings and fundings coming from the unspent loans of the original RRF and the Brexit adjustment reserve. These overall provide an envelope of around 50 billion overall in terms of increase of the original RRF volume. In the state of play with regard to REPower EU chapter, as said, is that the Commissioner received in total 23 REPower EU chapter. The Council has already approved 13 of them. So 13 member states have already closed the update of the RRF with the REPower EU chapter, while 10 of them are in the pipeline, in the sense that have been endorsed by the Commission, as it is formally said, and now are with the Council of the European Union for formal approval. When it's come to what is important, I wanted to show you, when it's come to report reform and investment in this new REPower EU chapter, you will see that the member states have clearly focused in scaling up action on renewables, energy efficiency, energy networks, and also I was saying decarbonization of industry. Here you have I'm switching between the slide, but here you have the reform, and here you have the investment. I see Melissa signaling that I will need to close shortly. What I wanted to show you is that with the REPower EU, with the RRF, there was already a strong focus on the clean energy transition overall, and this increased with this REPower EU top-up. In particular, I wanted to briefly go to this final slide, where you can see how the contribution overall that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation to the climate objective have increased, will increase when we will approve this. Of course, estimate all the plan of 4.1 percentage point. Of course, there is a differentiation across member states, but the main overall message is that one. What is key, I have to say, is another element I touch upon only briefly, but of course this instrument is a performance-based instrument, so it is the achievement of milestone and targets, and it's clear that member states need the expertise at local and regional level to deploy this investment and to follow up on them also in terms of verification and how to report back, of course, to the European Commission for the disbursement that these are indeed ambitious investment that have achieved the plan saving or the plan deployment of renewable capacity. With that, I conclude, and thank you very much again for joining, and I will stay the rest of the meeting in case you have any question.
Thank you so much, Pierluca. I know it's very challenging to stay within the limit because it's such a huge piece of policy and a big instrument. But yes, as you mentioned, people will have the chance to ask you questions throughout the webinar. So don't hesitate to do that either through the chat or through Slido. Right now, we'll move directly to our second speaker, Seamus Hoyne, a man of many hats. He's the Managed Energy Coordinator, but he's also Dean of Flexible and Workplace Learning at the Technological University of the Shannon, Chair of the Tipperary Energy Agency, and Secretary General of our network. Seamus, I give you the floor to present a bit more about Managed Energy now.
Great, thank you very much, Melissa, and thank you, Pierluca, for setting the stage and giving a brief introduction to Managed Energy. And now I'll take you through in the next 9 minutes, I promise, Melissa, an overview of Managed Energy and our activities. And as Melissa mentioned, we are effectively nearly 1 year old. On the 1st of December, we will have 1 year into this current Managed Energy service. And Managed Energy is designed to support local and regional energy agencies and maintain, position and enhance their role as leaders of the energy transition across Europe. And critically, it's about building capacity, raising visibility, but in the context of today's seminar, we're focusing on the ability to boost investments in the regions across Europe to deliver on Europe's energy and climate ambitions. Managed Energy has been running for a number of years, and this is the third Managed Energy service contract where our consortium, which I'll introduce at the very end, is working with SENEA and DG Ener to deliver on the ambitions of the contract. And I suppose I just introduced this slide to give everybody a picture of the energy agency workforce. One of the critical things we did at the start of the contract was to profile energy agencies across Europe. Those numbers in blue are the total workforce of local and regional energy agencies across Europe. So if you can see between 3,600 and 4,000 people working in local and regional energy agencies all across Europe. And we compare that to 2017, where we conducted a similar survey. It was between 2,400 and 2,800. So you can see energy agencies are growing in scale and importance and number across Europe, in line with the energy ambitions and the climate ambitions across the local and regions across Europe. So the Managed Energy Service has a number of different components. Masterclasses, which are about capacity building at a group level, expert missions, where they're very tailored supports, where people visit local and regional energy agencies. We have Managed Energy Talks, which are about inspiration on particular topics. Work shadowing, which is a new initiative in the Managed Energy Service in this contract. And as you're aware today, we have our online seminars addressing specific topics. So just to look at each of those in a bit more detail, the masterclasses are very much designed to be very much engaging and action orientated. They use a blended learning format where we have 2 sessions which are online, but then a day and a half in Brussels as a group. Classes range between 20 and 25 people and focused on homework, where people take what they learn in the masterclass and trying to turn it into potential investments, new service development or new project development in their regions. Some of the topics we have identified already and that we know regions are working on involve kind of large-scale renovation, the emerging really hot topic around district heating and cooling, hydrogen, very much emerging within energy agencies, and also very clear focus on energy communities. And they're just some examples of a multitude. And within those masterclasses, we have a clear focus on converting concepts into reality and looking at financing solutions. So we look at public-private partnerships, energy performance contracting, ESCOs, power purchase agreements. And you can see the topics of the masterclasses where we go from market facilitation. So it's building those skills to be able to build projects, innovative financing instruments. So those 2 masterclasses have already been delivered and will be repeated as we go through the contract. In the new year, we will be starting one on one-stop shops and then emerging one also around energy communities. Just some, I suppose, photos from our events in Brussels where, you know, we get people to work in small groups. You get to learn from your colleagues and peers across Europe and problem solve together to address the critical issues. Our expert missions are where we bring an expertise from the team out into your region. So going from a little bit the Brussels bubble out into the regions and tailor-made responses to the local and regional needs. They typically involve some capacity building. So in the picture here, we have Francisco working with a small team in Valencia, looking at strategic planning. We look at investment projects. We look at working with stakeholders. And again, lots of emerging solutions around one-stop shops, public sector decarbonisation, given the remit of the public sector to decarbonise and the specific challenges they have. Again, interesting areas around offshore wind and hydrogen and using that for decarbonisation solutions. And ultimately, the experts try to bring their expertise into the region to help convert concepts into reality. And again, we can see the working group focus where we meet with politicians, we meet with technical staff, we meet with other stakeholders that connect with the energy agencies. We also try to inspire and using these Manage Energy talks. So our first Manage Energy talk was held in June with Jens Burkhardt from Boston Consulting Group, looking at the industrial sector in particular and how companies can accelerate their climate transition. So it's not just only focused around public sector and residential sector. We're also trying to stimulate discussion and innovation across all sectors that energy agencies, the regions, engage with. So these are about planting seeds about what we can do now and into the future. And our upcoming opportunities. So we have masterclasses which will run throughout the 4 years of the contract. So over the next 3 remaining years. So our next one was focusing on one-stop shops. And we already have a large interest in this. So it's happening, as I mentioned, we have a blended learning format. So the first half a day will be online on the 31st of January. Then we bring the team or the class into Brussels for 1.5 days. And then we follow that up with at the end of February with a second half day of online. And the slides will be circulated, but you can go to Manage Energy website to find the application form. We do plan then our next masterclass on energy communities in April, and application details will launch for that early in the new year. Work shadowing is a new initiative. The full details are being finalized. You will see the details on the website, but the work shadowing is in effect the reverse of an expert mission. So instead of an expert going out to a region, we will bring people from energy agencies to visit an expert energy agency that could be in France, in Ireland, in Croatia, and you will spend 2 days getting under the hood, or really understanding the operation of this energy agency and how it has achieved its success, how it has delivered on its ambitions. Our expert missions, we had a very successful call for expert missions. So we have 16 expert missions scheduled over the next year. 3 to 4 have already been conducted. We will be launching a next round, a call for people to apply for expert missions in late 2024. So please do keep an eye on our website and our social channels for further details. And then we will have further online seminars. So we will have a total of 8 of our online seminars over the year. And our next Managed Energy talk, we hope, will be scheduled as part of USEF in June of next year, the European Sustainable Energy Week. And we're already working on the inspirational speaker for that event. We are across multiple channels, so we are really encouraged, and it's looking at the participant list. I see people who have engaged with Managed Energy already. If you're not aware of Managed Energy, please do check out our website, follow us on our social channels. Melissa and the team in Federen are in charge of our communications and do an amazing job of keeping people informed. So please do connect with us and keep us informed, as well as our initiatives that we deliver in terms of the capacity building, our expert missions. We're also really looking for expert case studies, examples of work happening through energy agencies and regions. So we're very keen to promote your activities and showcase the fantastic investment development that is happening across the regions. And as Pierluca mentioned, the Managed Energy Service is made up of a consortium. So it's led by my organisation, Technological University of the Shannon in Ireland. But at the heart of the consortium are energy agencies from France, from Slovenia, from Ireland, from Spain, Germany, Austria, and Croatia. Then supported also by our experts in web development in Acheron, based in Austria, and then Federen at the heart of our communications activity. So we know and understand the needs of energy agencies, and we're there to help and support you in your delivery. So thank you very much for attending today. Very happy to take questions or for people to reach out to us through social media and connect with the Managed Energy Initiative. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Seamus, for this nice summary. Indeed, I really encourage people to ask questions now, because unfortunately, Seamus might not be able to stay until the final Q&A session. So you can ask them to the chat. Maybe Seamus, if you see one question later on, you can also answer in the chat. Right now, I haven't seen any, but I think there is something I would like. Could you post the links of your social media? Yes, of course. Yes, Seamus, I think there is something we can say. Could you say a bit more about the stakeholders who can engage in the managed energy activities? Because indeed, we are focusing on energy agencies. Lots of the capacity building activities are also accepting staff of local and regional public authorities. But I know we have people from other types of organizations in this webinar, so how can they engage with us?
Sure, thanks, Melissa. So the core focus for Managed Energy is indeed local and regional energy agencies and their local authorities and their regions. But indeed, we do know that those energy agencies and local authorities partner with other stakeholders. So they could be NGOs, they could be companies that are working very closely. They may not have the same ideal structure as an energy agency or a local authority, but they are delivering similar services. So we do encourage people to reach out. So our masterclasses, we really try to have a wide range of people involved in those. The expert missions very much are for local and regional energy agencies and their local authorities, but absolutely, as we see today, our online seminars are for everybody. And our Managed Energy Master Talks are everybody. And indeed, in terms of promotion, if there has been innovative investment initiatives developed at a local and regional level that has been led by a partner of an energy agency, we would really like to hear about those so we can share that and amplify it across Europe so people can learn from people's experiences.
Thanks, Seamus. yeah, hopefully many of you will manage to get involved at some point with us. Now it's time for another Slido quiz. So Nadej is here and we'll launch it for you.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. So now we will go to our next Slido interaction. So it's a small quiz this time. The idea is to give you a better idea of what kind of knowledge you can learn if you participate in Manage Energy Masterclasses. So while I'm introducing the quiz, I would invite you to register to be able to participate. To do so, you just have to put a name. So don't worry, you can anonymize the name. So you can do it now. So the quiz is composed of 3 questions, each of them on a topic tackled either in the first masterclass, which was on market facilitation and project aggregation, or in the second one, which was dedicated to innovative financing instruments. And finally, the last question is about one-stop shops, which is the topic of our upcoming masterclass, as Seamus presented. So I see that 29 people joined the quiz. So I think we can start with the first question. So the first question is, what does market facilitation typically do? So the first answer is identifies relevant markets and relevant actors. The second one is interests, activates and connects actors. The third one is provides support to actors along the chain, such as building owners, technology suppliers, banks, funding bodies. And the last answer is all of the above. So I see that people are starting to answer. I will give you 30 seconds more or less to answer. So yes, what do you think a market facilitation typically do? So I think we can have a first idea of the responses. Most of you are responding all of the above. So let's see what's the correct answer. And indeed, the correct answer was all of the above. So most of you got the right answer. So now let's check the second question, which is, it's a quite long question, but don't worry, I will read it out loud to you. So what is the main feature of the smart EPC model used for retrofit of public lighting systems? So the first answer is the utilization of smart IT devices for the regulation of public lighting systems in order to achieve optimum performance and energy savings. The second answer is the connection of a public lighting system with other city infrastructures, such as traffic lights, through a smart IT communication. Or is it a combination under a single contract of the reconstruction and modernization of a public lighting system with other energy and non-energy services that use public lighting infrastructure, such as e-charging, 5G communication? And finally, the fourth possible answer is financing of the retrofit of public lighting system through smart financial mechanism. So I see that 11 participants already responded. So I know the question is a bit long, so I will give you more time to answer, of course, so that you have time to really read all the answer and all the words.
And of course, if you don't know the answers, it's okay. Some of you will be able to join the next Manage Energy Masterclass on the use and development of financial instruments. This one is managed by Regea, the organization of our next speaker, actually. Yeah, so it's also the goal to give you a peek of what you can get.
Exactly. So let's check the answers, and the majority of you responded the fourth answer, so financing the retrofit of public lighting systems through smart financial mechanism. And the correct answer was the third one, so a combination under a single contract of the reconstruction and modernization of a public lighting system with other energy and non-energy services that use public lighting infrastructure. So of course, as Melissa said, you can learn more about all these topics in the masterclasses. So do not hesitate to participate in the next ones. So let's jump into the last question of the quiz for today. So on one-stop shops, it's a shorter question. So one-stop shops working in residential retrofitting are typically designed to provide what kind of services? So is it information and advice? Is it technical design and procurement? Is it finance of retrofitting measures, or a combination of the above? I see that already 20 people responded, so I guess we need less time to answer this one, since it's a shorter one. So one-stop shops is the topic of the upcoming masterclass, as Seamus presented also.
Yeah, the link to the call, Nadej already put it in the chat. So have a look, everyone. It's open for energy agencies, regions, cities. The call is open until 8th of December, if I remember well.
Yes, so I see that most of you responded. Let's check the answers. So a combination of the above is the one that got the most answers, and the good answer, the correct answer was a combination of the above indeed. So thank you very much for participating to this Slido interaction. And we can see that Maja is the one that got all the correct answers and responded the faster. So now you have a better idea of what kind of knowledge you can learn if you participate in our masterclasses. And of course, this is just a glimpse of what you can learn. You will learn much more. And now I will give the floor back to Melissa to introduce our next speaker for today. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Nadej, and thanks everyone for joining and being fully awake and connected to this webinar. Now I mentioned REPower. Indeed, our third speaker is head of the energy department there. It's the Northwest Croatia Energy Agency. And he will tell us about the PV Max initiative in Zagreb in Croatia. So Marko, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Just to share the screen. I hope that you can see it now.
Perfect. Thank you.
So hello once again to all of you, and I see that there is a lot of people here. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to present our project called PV Max. As I'm already introduced, but some of you already know me, I'm Marko Čavar from REPower, head of energy department from a few months ago. And in several slides, I will give you the whole perspective of this ELENA-funded project to show you some remarks, why we did this project and what are the current results. So for those who don't know much about REPower, we are the Northwest Croatia Energy Climate Agency. Climate is a recent change or addition to focus also on climate part, since we already started to work in that area. We were established in 2008 by our four founders. Those are city of Zagreb and surrounding counties there, and most of our work until this project was done mostly for our founders and the cities, municipalities within this regions. Our field of expertise is very long. I've here put only a few of those, the most important ones. We started with the energy renovations and public lighting systems. You heard about Smart APC in this Slido. That is also the project that REPower is coordinating, about the public lighting systems, and as I mentioned, from recently, a lot of focus is put on the climate proofing, mitigation, and adaptation. There is around 60 of us, where 90% is engineers from different fields, and we currently have around 60 active EU projects. But we are very proud of these other interesting facts that I can share. I think that we are the only body or agency, or whatever you want to call, that got 4 ELENA A projects. And now we are also preparing the 5th one. I will share that later. So we are very happy to have this program and to achieve our results throughout this, but also we are doing a lot of other parts and are very active on all fields. Today's topic is the PV Max project, which is a story of the investments in the integrated PV systems. This is only a picture of one of our projects that actually started before the project. It is in the hospital, and in the top right corner you can also see Bračak, Energy Center Bračak, where we are located, and most of us are working. Now about the PV Max, I will really try to be short. I'm here for all the questions and hope that this will be very useful to you. I will go through the main facts and some theoretical part of why we focus on the PV systems, how we approach to this ELENA project, and what are the results as for now. The project started in July 2021 with a typical duration of 3 years as for all ELENA projects, but it will definitely be prolonged until the June due to many clients having problems with our DSO and so on, and a lot of funds came too late, so we agreed that probably we will prolong it. I already mentioned that it is funded under ELENA. Beneficiaries Regea, who received the total budget of around 2 million euros for the technical preparation and everything that we do. So we are the only beneficiary that received the funds. And our goal is to, until the end of the project, to achieve investments in integrated systems and related energy efficiency measures regarding electricity over 80 million euros. Why we focus on the PV systems is a good question. As you can see on the right side, Croatia is very low on this rankings about the photovoltaic capacity. We have one of the lowest, and you can also see that there is not a lot of capacity installed even in the last year. That is really embarrassing results from our side, and that's why we focused only on the PV systems and the integrated PV systems. Since on the one hand, investments cost decreased drastically over 5 years, and we show to our clients, even in the previous calculations, that PVs are financially feasible even without subsidies. But from the 2020 perspective, we had a lot of market failures. Well, one of the failures and the most failure, the biggest failures was the legal obstacles, where it was a lot of uncertainties and the new laws that concerns PV systems. We had a lack of projects in pipeline since we are very sensitive market, very small country, and very high dependent on the foreign companies that bring the capital and wants to invest. But the biggest problem in Croatia, and I'm sure that in all of the countries, is that we really have the high subsidy or grants addiction in both private and public sector. Usually when we talk with the clients, they are always looking for ways to get some subsidy. They even wait for a year or two without implementing projects on their own by their own funds or by credits and so on. And one of the last remarks is that the total solar potential in Croatia is very high. As you already know, during the summer there is a lot of sun, even during the other seasons, and that's why we wanted to put focus on this. So what we actually do is that we, as a part of this project, open the call for the gathering of the clients for the both public and private sector. We were not focused on our geographical area, these 4 founders, but clients could be anywhere from Croatia. And since we got this these financial funds for providing assistance, we provide assistance in technical consultancy, financial consultancy, and legal advice. Technical assistance is free of charge for all clients under the conditions that they trigger the investment. For private sector, it's the contract for building the systems. For the public sector, is the public tender opening. And since we got 2 million euros, so those are only 90% of the budget, the total budget. The 10% comes directly from our own budget, since we really wanted to put emphasis also to the clients that we really believe in this project and in our expertise that we can do the good work. As for the these consulting services that we provide, here you can see the list for all 3 parts or pillars, as we call it, what we actually do. So we basically gather all the informations from the clients, do the initial technical analysis of how large the system should be according to the consumption, price of electricity, and so on. We do the basic project documentation. We have our experts here who are qualified to do that by the technical chambers and so on. And we obtain the permits that are necessary, these energy permits and so on. Then we shift to the financial consulting, where we prepare the cost-benefit analysis, analyze different models, propose different models, help in the applications for tenders and so on. But the biggest game changer in here was that we prepare completely the tender documentation, contractual documentation, and everything else that is needed, but also very costly sometimes, because it's not hard that much to create some technical analysis. This legal part is much more complex, and this is one of our core businesses. So that's what we also provide. This was done for most of the clients. Clients could only select some of these, but most of them use the full scope of our help. And now regarding the results, as I showed in the previous slide, in 2022, the capacity in whole Croatia was around 150 megawatt. We so far in the pipeline have around 120 megawatt of projects. All the clients signed the memorandum of understanding with us, so they are officially part of the project, and they are in different phases. Some of them signed before, some of them recently, and so on. But we realized around 26.5 megawatts so far, and I think until the end of this year, 5 or 6 more megawatts will come. They are financed in the different ways, but in favor of traditional models. So either big companies invest their own funds or use the credit loans. Also, some of the partners use the clients use the grants. And we use different contracting. I don't know how much you are familiar with this, but there are typically 3 different models. So build, design, build, and finance. In the first one, you already have the whole documentation ready. So main design document and everything else, and then you contract only the building of the system. In the middle one, in the design and build, you under one contract agree with the company that they will do the main design and also the building of the system. And the last one is a typical PPA, when they also finance, the private sector finance it and then sell you the electricity. So there was a mix of that, and the PPA was mostly interesting for the private sector, as they for the public sector, as they did not have to invest their own money. So here are just some of the pictures, and this just to see how it looks like. I can share many more later, but I would like to focus on this one. This is the biggest reason why we were so successful. So as I said, we had a contract documentation. We tested it on the biggest players on the market, on the biggest cities in our country, and fine-tuned it throughout this last few years. And we insist of the above standard practice. So usually when you contact the installers, they want to give you bad equipment, they just want to sell it. But with this, also for the private sector, we simulated the public tenders with a very high level of technical requirements. We adopted the best EU practice, for instance, in the fire safety. We insisted on a very detailed main project designs, and also presented really realistic total costs, and that was very welcomed by all clients, since most of the companies only give you the part information and so on.
Marco, sorry,
yeah.
I think you're coming towards the end, but just to let you know that we're running late, so if you could close
just
soon.
one more slide after this. Yes, we created some new pathways in cooperation, and the biggest one I will mention is that we broke the stigma that energy agencies work only for the public sector. So we really got out there in the real world, and this brought us very different topics for us, and a lot of new projects that I will mention some other time. I will skip this list of clients, and this is just something, since most of us are here energy agencies. I just want to present here what we actually did for Zagreb. So since we are very good relations with them, we developed a solar roofs program with a very ambitious program, which is officially adopted for all financing models, all building types, systems for self-consumptions, but also for selling electricity to the grid. And as a result, a few days ago, we finalized the tender for 1.6 megawatts. Those are 16 locations, and you can see the average price of electricity that is fixed for 15 years. So the private sector offered it, and these buildings in the city of Zagreb will next 15 years pay this price for every kilowatt hour, which is ridiculously low. So it's very the market recognized this, and I think that we really did a great job here, and many more tenders are incoming for Zagreb until we hit this 50 megawatts. That's all from me. Sorry if I took a minute or two more. I'm here for all the questions. You can contact me even later, and I'm happy to share more information.
Thanks a lot, Marco. And don't worry, everyone, you will receive the slides and the presentation, and you saw Marco's email in there, so there's also opportunities for more questions later on. Now it's time to come to the final presentation of this webinar. We have today with us Savas Vlachos, the director of the Cyprus Energy Agency. He's also vice president for Smart and Sustainable Islands at Fedaren, and actually coordinating several recovery and resilience funds in Cyprus. And today he will focus on energy efficiency, renewables and transport projects within this facility. Savas, thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for the invitation to share our experience on dealing and supporting resilience and recovery investments for Cyprus, and also it's a very good synergy to explain how the knowledge and the skills we gained through the Manage Energy program helped the agency to develop. So I hope you can see my slides.
Yeah, please. Perfect.
Okay, so then I will explain how we manage as an energy agency to trigger these local sustainable energy investments. In total, as energy, we are engaged in 4 investment programs of the National Resilience and Recovery Plan. So to be part of this transition, it was very important as agency to understand the local context, the difficulties, and the opportunities that were available for investments. It was also important to brainstorm on potential solutions, to know what is missing, and of course, study and test solution. And for that element, our participation in European funded programs, collaboration with other energy agencies helped us to create a portfolio of projects and investment ideas in order to promote and to have concrete proposals, and by being present and active when discussions were made in Cyprus, it was also possible to negotiate investment programs and funding schemes for the beneficiaries of Cyprus. In this case, the opportunity was the drafting of the National Resilience and Recovery Plan, as already mentioned by Pierluca. 40% was the climate-related aspect of the plan, so it was an opportunity for us to be present and address the challenge, which was to make available the funding opportunities for the beneficiaries of Cyprus. And when we say beneficiaries, we mean local authorities, SMEs, and the government itself, but also individual households. So out of the 4 investments we are involved, I will only present the 2 of them. The most significant part, it was to understand the barriers for the main beneficiaries. So why usually smaller local authorities and villages cannot be part of this kind of investments in terms of raising the needed money, or to make proper application, or to be in a position to implement investments in a very short time, restricted by the plan, which is the end of 2026. So we took part in the public consultation. We were there present, presenting proposals, solutions with budget and time frame, and we managed to give solutions to existing problems. So one of the schemes that we are involved is technical support to communities in order to invest in renewable energy sources and also to energy efficiency. And for this case, we have in Cyprus a funding scheme provided by the state. It is addressing the local authorities, but the experience from the past was that local authorities are unable to access this fund, to understand it, and also to have successful implementations. So in collaboration with the Cyprus Union of Communities and the support of the Resilience and Recovery Plan, we took this role to inform communities about the scheme, to help them identify and select eligible energy efficiency programs, assist the procurement, help them to find energy specialists in order to have their own audits and certificates, prepare and submit applications for them, and also provide technical support during the whole phase. And with our role, we make sure that the applications are correct, are eligible, and they have high potential to receive the grant from Resilience and Recovery Plan. So our support is restricted to more or less 50 local authorities of Cyprus, and we aim to achieve this target. So the steps in detail is that we have collect interest from the local authorities, then we have provide tailor guidance with phone calls and emails and meetings. We have created templates for them for tender documents. We help them to recruit the specialists, but also we do manage the applications and the communication with the professionals and the Ministry of Energy, which is responsible for the fund. Templates and support throughout the process, and we oversight the application procedure in order to make sure that everything is correct. And this is the second scheme. This one is in collaboration with the electrical and mechanical services of the government of Cyprus. So our idea was to promote infrastructures for electric vehicles. So we aim to fund 1,000 electric vehicle charging stations in Cyprus. So what is behind it was crucial to have the collaboration with the relevant states authority. With our idea, we managed to create this funding scheme, and we provide technical support to make it happen. So what we support here is a grant for publicly accessible spaces, including municipal and communal parking spaces, and it is eligible to receive grant, the applicants to receive grant for the equipment, the installation, the studies, and the accessories needed in order to have publicly accessible spaces for charging EVs. So as an energy agency, with our knowledge and experience, we have designed the whole grant scheme, the platform, everything that needed for the application and the evaluation of all the applicants, and we do provide support to the ministry to make this happen. The phase A, it was completed a few months ago, and now we are preparing the phase B. We are halfway to the achievement of our goal, which is to provide support to 1,000 charging stations for electric vehicles in Cyprus. So that's all from my side. You can see my contact details on the slide, and I will be available with you to take any questions if there are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Savas, also for staying on time. I'm conscious we are running a bit late, but I would like to ask at least one question to all the speakers. So for those who can stay, otherwise, of course, as a reminder, you will receive slides and presentations afterwards through email. It was for me really interesting to see all of your presentations, lots of good practices from energy agencies. You can see the technical assistance they do in their regions, some also policy overview from Pierluca. And what I would do is ask only one question that can apply to all the speakers that we have today with us. I raised actually this quote from Pierluca. You said that member states need the expertise of local and regional energy agencies and stakeholders to implement the REPower EU facility. And I would ask all of you how to do this. What's your maybe your own advice on how to implement this in 30 seconds each? Pierluca, please, you can go first.
Thank you very much, Melissa. I mean, I would probably rely more on Savas and Marco to reply to this. But what I can say is that it is clear that the action that are being implemented in energy and climate overall are particularly ambitious because there has been an acceleration. Sometimes these, of course, came as part of the budgetary program that are planned as, let's say, I would not say as business as usual, but that build on the normal basis. And to deliver on those actions, you don't not only need ambition from the top, but leaders, I would say, on the ground that, as was presented, I think by both presenters very well, can propose to the public authorities, also very ambitious, to the public authorities, I mean the central government authorities, very ambitious project, and show that that can happen, that they do not need to be afraid from ambition, that there are good practice at local and regional level that can really manage to deliver on what then is required by the instrument, is required by the policy. So that I would mention that. So that is it also reassuring of the central authorities what the energy agency are doing at local level.
Thanks. That reminds me of something one of our experts, Christiane Egger, always says, that sometimes energy agencies can feel quite alone in their regions, but when they get together through managed energy at European level, they realize there are many of them facing the same challenges and same opportunities. Thanks a lot. Marco, what's your take on this? What's your advice?
Well, yeah, I think that as Velimir always says, energy agencies are facilitators, and we are in some way the connections between the private sector and the public sector. Some parts are usually forced through the public sector, especially when they are new and when they needs to be implemented in the market. On the other hand, you really depend on the private capital and on the involvement of the private sector in the public I would say activities. From what we see now is that this, especially through the FEDEREN and everything that I'm following and my colleagues know better, is that there is no we are not alone, since we are really specifically on the geographically, and I'm sure that whatever project you think of, someone already did something similar. So this connection between us is really excellent. We did not think of ourselves for this PV Max project. We saw it in France, we saw it in the other countries. So that's the main strength. And these innovative financial models are, I think, the key, especially the PPA in the public sector, which really brings a great benefit of reliable prices of energy, involvement of the private capital, which is not a bad thing for us. I mean, I think that we all strive to do that. So yeah, that would be my remarks. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And finally, Savas, how do you see local and regional stakeholders being proactive in the REPower EU and Green Deal implementation?
Yeah, complementary to what Pierluca and Marco said, the good thing about the energy agency is that we do understand the EU policies. We take part in the negotiations and the discussions, so we are very early adopters of what is the main idea and the scope of the policies and the funds that are made available. So our role to work with the local stakeholders, the government and the local authorities, in order to showcase how policies may be transformed into tangible projects. This is our role in every region, in every country. So altogether we can manage the transition, which is quite demanding for the government in every country. So this is a key issue to address, a challenging transition that needs contribution from the energy agencies and from many stakeholders around European Union.
That's great concluding words. I will close the webinar here because we're running late. Thank you so much to all our speakers. It was very inspiring. Thank you to all the participants and those that made it until the end. And we look forward to welcoming you in other managed energy events and activities. And you will also get the opportunity to hear from these people again through those. So have a good day, everyone, and a very nice weekend, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.